Oh man, so Bitcoin is up 2.6% today, allowing Phantom to rebound. It's currently up about 1.5% today, despite the urgent news we had yesterday, which is, and I'm going to stick to it, a rug pull by Andre Cronje and his team, which we'll come on to because it's left a bit of a, let's call it a bitter taste in my mouth, given what has happened. I'm going to explain exactly why I still hold those sentiments and how this could have been handled differently. We're then going to look at what that means for the Phantom price and what's happened to some of the TVL as well. To keep it very transparent, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing with my Phantom position, what my plan is over the long run, and where does this leave the project. So a lot to cover off in this episode. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, sit back. This episode is brought to you by UDEMY. More about that later on. Let's head straight into the Phantom chart, because here on Phantom, we can see first of all, that Bitcoin is forming a good pattern. It's had a good green day, which has helped to stop some of the bleeding on Phantom. We'll come back to Bitcoin in a second. But here on Phantom, you can see we fell out of our technical pattern, okay? And this is the dump here, once we got rug pulled by Andre Cronje. Okay, so this is when we fell down, and thankfully we managed to collect some support at the bottom of the wedge, okay? Now, that's pretty much what your target would be from a technical perspective anyway, when you're falling out from this pattern, would be to reach the bottom of the wedge. We fell as low as about 132, which in hindsight ends up looking like a good dip buy. We've had a good movement to the upside, but just to show you kind of how much we've fallen, we would have expected to sit at 165. We've fallen as much as 20% on the news here. But as we know, a lot of this can just be overreaction. So we're going to cover off in this video what it means long-term for the project and should be worried. For those who haven't watched the video, I posted an emergency video yesterday explaining exactly what happened yesterday as the news broke. Go check that out. I'll leave that linked up here. That video's got almost 10,000 views now. Go watch that video, guys, because it explains exactly what is going on. But in essence, we had a crazy situation whereby, let's start off here, where Anton Nell, one of Andre Cronje's partners, posted, Andre and I have decided that we are closing the chapter of contributing to the DeFi crypto space. There are around approximately 25 apps that are terminating. And this is the word that led me to post a video saying this is a rug pull. And it's why I continue to hold the fact that this is very nefarious. And I think there's more going on, which is what I said in my video yesterday, than meets the eye. It's very, very strange. I mean, just the way in which it was handled seems very, very odd. Now, here's an alternative to how it could have been worded. Had this have not been a rug pull, if Andre was professional, if this was communicated with the Phantom team, if Michael Kong and Simone Pomp knew about this. This is an example here by Brad here on Twitter, who's posted a good example of how it could have been posted. Hey folks, after much consideration, Andre and I have decided the time is right for us to transition the remaining components of our project to the amazing team developers already doing most of the work on them. Over the next month, we'll make sure that everyone has what they need so they will not lose a beat on behalf of the community that support these projects. Below is each project and the developers that they are building them every day, which, while our roles may have seemed large, in reality we haven't been needed for most of them for quite a while now. The more recent projects like Solidly now have a team in place with a plan and a mission for success as well. We will always be available for any questions that may arise, but we complete faith in the teams to carry on. While building in DeFi is difficult, we are grateful to the amazing communities that have supported everything we've done. You now are in charge of your own destiny and the team and foundations to make it work. Perfect. If only it was worded like that, right, guys? And that is what you would have expected. Somebody like Andre is smart enough, right? Daniel Siesta, Antonell, these guys are smart enough to put out an announcement like that. If it was coordinated, if it was a long-term plan, if the Phantom Foundation were aware of what's going on. And guess what? Phantom Foundation scrambled to post a reaction hours later, right? This was not coordinated. If it was coordinated, then it would have been okay. But no, things were being leaked, right? People saw that Andre Cronje changed his description on his LinkedIn. We were getting screenshots. We saw this happen on when you logged into Solidly. What kind of a notice is this? This service will no longer be available. The source code is open source. Anyone that would like to continue hosting service is welcome to. It's like no thought or plan. It's like, no, we're switching this off. It's a big off button. See what I mean? Like, this is not coordinated. And there's definitely something deeper going on. We were finding things out through Telegram chats. You know, Michael Kong, the CEO, well, Andre's out of crypto. What he decides in the future is, of course, up to him. Just to be clear, the team is working on FVM stuff. You know, they're just scrambling. There's no clear response here, and that was part of the issue. Now, Since then, more things have come out. We've heard from Simone Pomposi as well as Michael Kong. We're going to cover through some of their tweets just now. I've invited both of them. Come on over, speak to you guys on this episode, on this channel here, to address some of these concerns. We've had 10,000 people watch the rug pull episode from yesterday. They need answers. We need to know what is going on, because this is not good, and this is what can lead to some people falling out of love in a project, okay? So it's very important. And not for a second do I think Andre Cronje is a huge deal that's going to drop the whole layer 1 system. That's not the case here. I never once invested in Phantom because of Andre, nor am I going to sell because of Andre, right? But this is a wider issue here, that how was this allowed to happen? How was somebody given such a figurehead position? And then how was he just nefariously gone into, left into the sunset without any handover plan? It's basics. It's basics for small companies, little startups, a little corner shop. They know how to do a handover process when somebody leaves, let alone big projects like this, which need to be handled a certain way when you can affect the markets. Okay, Simone Pomposi, I wanted things to settle down before chiming in. So what happened? In one word, miscommunication. The market reacted to the wrong message. Phantom will be fine, nothing changed. Okay, yeah, but the market can only react to what's been given to the market. And what was given to the market first was this completely unprofessional couple of tweets with, typos and all sorts, like poorly communicated. There's not much we can do here, okay? So let's read the thread. Yesterday, Anton put out a tweet that conveyed a message that was different from what he meant. Agree. Yep, we went through this tweet by Brad. Fine. In short, Andre and Anton are leaving crypto and handing off the DevOps of the projects they're involved with to the respective teams. Good. Nobody would have noticed any change if Anton did not tweet about it, but good to be transparent. That's not the point. You should tweet about it, and you should do it clearly. Excuse me. Andre and Anton are leaving. What does it mean for Phantom? Business as usual. Luckily, Phantom does not rely on one single person. I know that. That's right. There are dozens of people working at Phantom with some of the smartest people I've met on. Yep, and that's why I invest in them. 5, these are people that built the infrastructure for Phantom to what it is today, the 5th largest network by TVL, 80k plus daily active addresses, more transactions than Ethereum for 10 days straight. However, Phantom is more than this. I agree. Phantom has a unique and welcoming community. Hundreds of developers build on Phantom daily. They created some of the most useful protocols in DeFi. Spooky, Spirit Swap, Scream, Tomb Finance, Beefy, Beethoven, Liquid Driver, Tarot, Reaper, we know, right? And many others. Fun fact, Phantom is the 4th network by number of protocols, and not all of them are actually listed. DeFi Llama, the builders turned Phantom into one of the most the world. Great. 8, not accounting for the value created by independent builders is unfair and inaccurate. In other words, Phantom can thrive even with team members and contributors leaving, but cannot survive without independent builders and the community at large. Okay, good thread here by Simone. At least he's now starting to clear things up, and this is better. Let's see what else we've got. Well, we've got Solidex came out and said, we have made arrangements to maintain the Solidly UI going forward. Solidly's contracts are immutable, so they will go on forever. Good. So somebody's picking up that project, and they're going to run with SolidSwap. Now, again, let's not forget, SolidSwap has launched, and it got to 3 billion in total value locked in, a month or whatever it was. It was rapid. But there were still so many bugs and complaints. So there's a lot of work to still be done. Don't act like, some perfectly polished product that Andre's left and he's just left crypto. Now, the other thing we need to know is the fact that Andre and Anton have left crypto. They've not just left Phantom. Okay, so this is very important. I mentioned this in yesterday's video as well. Something is going on here more nefariously. Maybe they've just fallen out of crypto. Maybe there's something a bit more untoward, but it's nothing to do with Phantom. If it was, they'd go to Algorand, they'd go to Solana, they'd go to Cardano, they'd go to Ethereum, right? But no, that's not the case. They're falling out of love with crypto and they're going. The other thing I mentioned in yesterday's video is there's something to do with Daniel Sester as well. If we're not going down the nefarious route, if we're just looking at it from a layman's perspective, they came as a pair. Andre and Daniel Sester did everything together. Andre was a bit more of the genius type. He would sit in the background, do the work. Daniel Sester didn't mind doing the hype bit, didn't mind being the marketing head, the hype machine, and that's how things work. If you remember, like Steve Jobs and Wozniak, they came in a pair. It was difficult to separate them. So when Daniel Sester wasn't around with Solidly, Andre Cronje had to step up and do those bits as well, and I don't think those bits came naturally to him. So when he was getting stick from a marketing perspective about bugs or meeting timelines or the snapshot that he was doing, I don't think he enjoyed that as much as just sitting there typing code and being the super hot developer that he is. Okay, so that is definitely something to consider as well. This is not an indictment on Phantom. This is the fact that they're leaving crypto as a whole. Okay, let's also see what Michael Kong has to say. I'm aware I'm just reading you these tweets, but it's important we get the updates from the right people. This is the CEO of Phantom, and again, I invite him to come on and give his direct word to you guys instead of just on a tweet storm here. As many of you are aware, Anton, who works with Andre, tweeted that they are terminating 25 projects. This was misunderstood. They are terminating their involvement, handing over anything they run into. Many of these projects have existing teams. For instance, Yearn Finance, been around for years. Yes. Multi-chain has been around for years. Yes. I believe Andre ran one protocol, which is the Solidly one. That's one we just discussed. And we know that Solidex are taking over. He linked the wrong Solidex here. This is dangerous. So no, these projects are not closing down for development. He's still working on a bunch of stuff for the Phantom virtual machine. We're getting level DB to Pebble DB on the RPC nodes. Good. Flat storage. Fine. So he's reminding us that, look, we're making a whole bunch of progress. Nothing to worry about. So where does this leave us, guys? I mean, if we sit back and go, okay, let's look at total value locked. We've dropped by 9%. We still have one of the most number of protocols here of any layer one solution. We still have very solid total value locked. Phantom, from a price point of view, has already started buying the dip. The volumes come in, and you can see that we've already picked up from 131, sitting now 141. Is there further downside? There always is, but I don't think that downside is going to be led now by this Andre issue. It's going to be led to Bitcoin not being able to break for 40,000. So that's what, ironically, we need to worry about. If Bitcoin was running now, I think Phantom would easily get back to 165 and then get back into this wedge, look to get through 179 and work its way back in. So in the long run for me, I'm not selling my Phantom. Like I said, I never invested in Phantom because of Andre, and I'm not going to stop investing because of something Andre is doing. But I didn't like how it was done. And I'm going to have to give Phantom Foundation the benefit of the doubt that Andre didn't tell them. And if so, then that's an indictment on Andre, not on the Phantom Foundation. They obviously had to scramble to get that messaging out. That's why it's a bit late and the price has taken a little bit of a hit. In the long run, these prove themselves as great times to buy. For me, for somebody who knows that, look, this is a great layer one solution. It's fundamentally a great project. Technicalities of the project, from block finality, transaction speed, to scalability, to the amount of DeFi they've got locked, doesn't get affected by what's going on here. Like anybody knows, someone like Andre CRONJE was building these projects and they're out there and people run with them from there. He's not actually an executor. These visionaries create new products, not people that like to execute on existing products. So yes, you can argue it may have an impact because we won't get the next Solidlys and exciting projects if he's not working on them. But trust me, someone like him will come back. If he fell out of love of crypto, he's going to want that buzz back. He's going to end up coming back into crypto at some point anyway. So yeah, on Phantom, if we continue to get any lower prices, I like to continue to nibble in. I wouldn't go all in because I'd want to see where does it kind of settle in at. But then having said that, if Bitcoin runs through 40,000 and starts pushing on, which I'm going to come on to, by the way, I can expect Phantom to get moving as well. And if you look at Bitcoin, this is where things get really beautiful. Because here on the Bitcoin chart, remember, we were forming this wedge. And now what's happened is we ran to the top, got rejected. Look at this beautiful bounce now intraday so far today. Looks like we're trying to get a good bounce. And if we do, we've got a good we've got a good channel here to run from there all the way to the top, which if I was trading this is a quick 16% move here on Bitcoin to run to the top of the channel. And hopefully this next time, because that'll be 1, 2, 3, this will be the 4th time of trying at this level. Hopefully we can break through with vengeance and head to the upside. Of course, we have to look at what's going on in the wider economy. We can see, no end in sight just yet for Ukraine, Russia. Continues to be issues around this. We now have rhetoric around the US banning imports of oil from Russia. I think that accounts for 7 to 8% of the US's oil imports. That will have an impact on inflation, and that's why we can see major indices down. You've got the Dow down 1.45%, S&P down almost 2%, NASDAQ getting smashed again 2%. So difficult market today, but Bitcoin, regardless of that, holding up pretty well, okay? Again, up 2% here on Bitcoin, getting a nice bounce from this technical level, which is very interesting. If you look at the Fear and Greed Index, sitting at 23, it was at 22 yesterday, so the market's kind of getting there and saying, okay, this is where we're going to stay. If we can rotate here, that would be really good. And remember, what I said on Bitcoin, as long as we're creating these higher lows, and we continue to follow this, it's still an upwards trend, right? Albeit a bit sideways and not steep upwards, but at least we're not creating lower lows, because lower lows would be the worrying point at this stage, but we're not getting that. Okay, so overall, that's where I stand on Phantom, guys. I'm continuing to find points to nibble in at. If I see stretch prices to the downside, I will continue to buy a little bit more. I nibbled yesterday. I've not nibbled any today, but I mean, if it was to fall back to 130s, I would nibble. If it falls any lower, definitely. I'm also looking at the portfolio coins in Phantom Network as well. You guys know I'm a bit more risk, a bit more risk averse in that. Look, some of these super low caps, I don't like topping up on these loads, particularly when the market is super cheap right now. I mentioned this in a few videos before. Like, yes, some of these are super, on discount now. You got Beethoven X down 28% over the last 7 days. You got Liquid Driver down 30%. You got Spirit Swap down almost 40%. And these are good projects. They're small market caps and they'll move quickly. But right now, when I can see, projects in the top 10, top 15 in crypto, I can't help but to go, okay, where do I need a bit more in Cardano? Where do I need a bit more in Solana? Where do I need a bit more in Algorand or Avalanche or, these kind of projects? So for me, it's a tricky one in terms of balancing that out. I don't want my Phantom ecosystem plays to come overweight in my portfolio. That's definitely a piece of advice for you guys as well. As always, guys, just wanted to wrap up by saying this video is brought to you by Udemy. Do check out Udemy. I'll leave the link in the description below. Super useful for courses, guys. It's all about courses. Like, a lot of people ask me, how do I pick stuff up? How do I learn? I'm always learning through courses. So for example, how do I edit this video? I learned through courses. Just type in YouTube, you can type in video editing, and you're good to go. Anything you want to learn from a business perspective, from finance, IT, office productivity, design, marketing, there's courses for every single thing here, and it's about constantly learning and evolving. So go check that out. Links in the description, Udemy. I swear by platforms like this because I always am learning. Like, just one of the things, anybody who knows me knows I'm just constantly absorbing content on a regular. So there you go, guys. Hope you guys found that useful. Hope that gives you a bit of a summary into what's going on, and we've had a bit more clarity now, but it does leave a bitter taste in our mouth. I mean, it could definitely have been handled a lot better, and I can see why a lot of people are upset and a lot of people have sold their bags. For me, I like these pieces of fun. In the great scheme of a project and the lifetime of Phantom, it's going to prove itself out as one of those watershed moments where you got a chance to buy in a bit more cheaply. And like, again, if we were to tell these people who are FOMOing in all the way, let me put the chart back up. No, don't worry about it. But if we were to FOMO in and say, look, you could buy Phantom when it was sitting at $3.46, you had a chance to buy Phantom at $1.30, you would have bit my hand off. So definitely, this is where you need conviction. This is where you need strong belief in the projects as a whole and what they're doing. When you do have that, it makes moments like these difficult. What makes moments like these tough, when you've invested in projects, actually understand what they do. A friend told or an influencer. That makes it start panicking. Right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hit up the likes, hit up subscribes. Don't forget to check out Udemy, links in the description. What I'm going to do now in the end card, I'm going to link up a video, which is the most important Phantom video you're going to watch. If you're lacking for some fundamental conviction right now, go and watch that video. Just reset from the news. Don't look at Twitter. Don't worry about Andre Cronje and what he's doing. Go watch that video and understand how super undervalued Phantom is, even back then, let alone now. And then hopefully that gives you some confidence to go and buy the dip. Not financial advice, just what I'm doing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, smash up the likes, and I'll see you in